Chi creation, love and light, part 2. So we'll look at this. We see the bubble, we see the sunlight coming into it, and we can see it being refracted into all its different colours. You've got the sun there, it's kind of glary, so you're going to miss it, but so when you get a reflection of that, it repeats there, but then you've got all the other little suns which kind of appear. And also, the reflection of the sun here, the colour, see all the colour that comes in with it, and then how the colour changes. It's like it's gone from yellow to blue, purple, and then even almost black, and then it seems to fade away and become invisible. It's like the light causes the colour, and the absence of light, there's no colour, not even black in that kind of sense. Because the absence of colour might make it appear black, but really it's just invisible. So we've got this sundog, and you're seeing the same thing here. You see how like on the outside you've got the colour like at the top part. It almost looks like I can't zoom in, which is a shame. Almost like you can see like a dome at top almost. Try and get these are like the blue green kind of colours at the top and stuff, and then you look in the middle, and then it all disappears. So, like I say, like if that's a reflection of us in that kind of sense, I'll show you as we get on with it. So, this is the sun in its most physical expression. And so when the sun split, it's like this is all of the physical aspects of it. Another aspect is it could be a difference in time as well. That could be the end of time. You know what I mean? You know, if the sun's split into different factions of itself, then there's that potential. So this is the sun in its most spiritual form, like pure consciousness. See, like that one's like bone, often like a skull, you know, like the face on it and stuff. But so one being the past and one being the future is almost like saying it's aspect of infinity in that way. And so it's almost like one brings life and one takes life. I've heard people mention about like the moon being the harvester of souls in that kind of sense as well. So if we connect with both of them, we can see that relationship. Like, you know what I mean? If it's both the same thing, you know, the sun, then so now we've got this. This is also the sun, but this is in its most conscious form. This is when it's complete. It's got all of its different aspects of itself, all in one. All the different layers. It could be different conscious states that it holds within itself. So also this is where your flat plane of existence comes from as well. We'd exist within the consciousness, but this is what generates that flatness in that kind of way. And so, like, you know, space is flat and all that kind of stuff. So again, considering are we talking about spheres, spheres of consciousness, it's important to point this out, because it's where it's always been. You know, this is what we know from the inside, from all these different examples. But now it's like trying to understand it in a different way. So, we've got rings within rings. It's like the most simplest shape for water to find. It has impact, and then all the water goes out in all directions equally, as it senses the energy. The vibration which goes through the water, it picks it all up and it remembers it all. And if it finds a match, then it makes something. So now we're starting to get the flower of life. We've got the Vesica Pisces. So it could be that way, or it could be that way. So it's like one overlaps the other one. You've got consciousness that comes in centre. And see, it's quite big. Like that could be our dome in terms of our understanding of where we are in that kind of sense. We might have like multiple domes. You can see there's like these as well, but then there's that as well, kind of thing. If that's past the picture. It's like source energy in center. So you got this version. You got a point there and it curls round and comes back to a point. I did consider like chopping one end off, so you got a yin and a yang. Sort of a rounded edge would be the yang, and then the yin for the point, or vice versa, or whichever. But there's a few things to like consider, you know. So here we can see we've got a point there, but if we rounded it at the bottom, if we completed all the circles, because we had a circle point there, you know what I mean, from where crossover is, so you should be able to get curves underneath it, a variant way, I don't know. But as we understand it, it's like we'll try to understand it. It's like you could have the pole star there in that kind of sense, or you could have, you know, then you'd have got a circle to exist on, and that's where your pole star is. But then you got your other option of like having a pole at each end, and then that's like your realm of consciousness, and that'd be a dome, and there'd be a flat line in there, kind of where we'd exist in that kind of way. Again, you can turn it. Oh. I see you got those examples. It just rings repeating. So again, you're getting the same kind of thing. Once again, so you get the Vesica Pisces in between. You get the sun, which has split itself into two. But it's also the whole as well. So, like cells, they naturally split and form into two and multiply. So when we look at the macro of it, we're seeing where the realm of consciousness is. It's like if we, I'm going to zoom in further now. So if we, like the black spot within the eye, like if that is like the ball of consciousness, which exists between all these energies colliding together and stuff. Like we were talking about the energy balls, how it compresses, expands. and that being what consciousness is. It's like, for me to create an energy ball, I need two hands, but I was holding it phone. Um, it's putting that intention in there. You know what I mean? You're creating that energy. Um, the more you do it, the better you get at it and such. But to do it at this level, you know what I mean, to create an actual realm of consciousness is quite a big thing. So, that's frog spawn. It splits into two suns, two windows to the soul. Now, this is a picture of the sun, but we've inverted it. And so rather than having it sun in the middle, it's all on outside. Which is quite a curious image in a way. It's almost like, because if we are the sun, then we're inside the sun. And so when we look out to the night sky, instead of seeing all this, we see this, like the absence of light. It's like the light's shining outwards, whereas we're on the inside, so the light's not coming down, it's going out. And also, it's like we're on different frequencies. I'll get into frequencies in a second. So the mainstream science is started to say that there's a black hole inside our sun. Now, with all the left brain logic in the world, it doesn't really make sense, because if we had a black hole inside our sun with a narrative that they've set for black holes, then wouldn't that just destroy the sun? Wouldn't the sun be crumbling in front of us right now? You'd see some. It'd be changing size. It'd be shrinking. It'd be collapsing. It was. It just seems like a bit of a. I don't know why they're saying it. But at the same time, it's something that I'm saying. But I'm saying it as a completely different thing. It's like we see the sun, and they tell it's a ball of fire. Maybe there's, a slight bit of truth to that. And when we think about it in a spiritual sense, what's fire? A fire is passion. It's that spiritual energy of what that is. Then, at that pure base of it, if we're looking into the spiritual realm, we see the sun shining, and that's what that is. It's not a ball of fire. It's not magma. It's not all the excuses that they give us, fusion and all these kind of things. The weight of it creates so much pressure, but it makes it hot. All these kind of things. So yeah, seeing it in a completely different way. So we see them all as one. It's just that this one resides within it. So it's like that's a separation of that, but they're all the same thing in a way. So yeah, I don't know what this is. It's not a proper picture. But for some reason, it's got a bubble around Earth. It's also got a bubble around the sun, and it's got a bubble around Moon, which is, because it just sounds a bit silly. But at the same time, when we're talking about the planets being the chakras, then when we look at the sun, the moon, and the earth, they're a bit like the dantians. And your dantians were the energy reservoirs in your body for your chakras. So your chakras deliver energy, and your dantians store it, so then you can use it later on and stuff. So we have three dantians. We have one in his head, one in his chest, and one in his gut. So there's a three there. So when we consider that they're all the same, and when we look at the sun, when they open the earth up, and so that's what's inside Earth. So they don't call it the sun, but at the same time, they're using the same narrative. So if we ignore the exterior of this, if that's wrong. um, that exists within here, and with a flat plane of existence within inside this. We can't see it from outside. It creates a lot of. You need a lot of passion to create a reality like this in that kind of way. But I don't turn. So we'll look at this cross section. We're on Roger's stream up a day, and he played the car documentary video, Earth's car documentary. And there were some things that were showing you, like you get all these twisting towers of fire coming off at the sun or the car. And they create columns of heat, and because of those columns of heat, the magma, which is a root moving around it, then has like retrograde patterns. So within Earth, you have these retrograde patterns. But if we're the sun, if it's one and the same, then what they're showing us in here is just part of the solar system patterns that we're getting. It's one and the same thing. So if you have like a planet which does a wandering star which does a retrograde, because for it to do it inside the Earth, there's a million questions, like how do we know? What proof have we got? Like, how does it, why would it, there's a million things, because it's all spinning and all these kind of things and stuff like. And when we say it's spinning, it's almost like they're not even acknowledging the Earth spinning. I mean, they're saying it's a globe and spinning, but when they talk about this, it's almost like the Earth's stationary. It's like they've not acknowledged it, so like, a bit of a red flag in a sense. So, so yeah, looking at this in a completely different way. I see, that's a little bit better, but still they've got this on outside, that needs to be on there, but we're looking at it in the spiritual sense. So this frequency, you wouldn't be able to see Earth anyway. You're seeing all this. See, when we talk about the frequencies, and if we look at Earth in this different way, then instead of that like being the Earth's car, maybe that's Shangri-La. Like the place where they say that you get to the center of Earth to reach this heavenly place. Well, when we're talking about in a spiritual sense, the most heavenly place is your stages of enlightenment. Each stage will get you closer to that heavenly blissful place. So it's not a location on Earth, more of a location within yourself to achieve that frequency. So, another way of looking at it, heat domes are supposed to be an area where heat gets trapped and stuff. But if we look at the land and then we say that, this is a flat plane and you've got this dome which comes over us, pretty much like how we've been saying, it's like we've got a dome in that kind of sense. So if we're inside the sun, then this is the exterior of the sun whilst we're inside it. So this is our torus field in a way. Kind of like so you get the dome, you got another dome. We have different layers to consciousness. So, if we're inside here, and that's our night sky, and because we've got multiple domes, I suppose, that's what reflects back. We've got emptiness, and then we get a reflection of ourselves. So rather than we're looking out to the sun, we're looking up at a reflection which is looking back at us. And so because that looks at us from the outside, it sees the light. Because we're looking out from the inside, we see the darkness. Or the transparentness. It's like, there's no light touching it, or, so it becomes invisible, like the examples at the beginning. So, the sun. It's like that's what all that is. That part of your torus field. Dome effect. It's the best one because we've got a flat plane underneath it, despite the size of the continents. So we looked at this before and we spoke about this being the sun. So now we see it as like consciousness. And as we're inside there, we're sharing the same celestial sphere which goes around us. So this it opens new doors of like understanding how space works and stuff. Not space as such, but because it's a spiritual realm and we need to like understand it in a sense of how we can make sense of it. So again, we've got this flat plane. I don't know why it's tilted. It's probably because of location of where he is, and then that changes the angle depending where you stand. So you've got a flat plane. We've got our dome of the size of a sun. So the flat plane of existence is within that ball of consciousness. You make it yellow, and then you look inside, and then when you're inside, you can see all the blue and all that kind of stuff, the ocean. But when you're inside, you look out. That's the dome of the sun. So you look out at that which is invisible, and then you see the other dome with a reflection of the sun on it. So we'll be able to figure out how far away it is. If that is the same size as that, then you'll be able to figure out the distance and size of it and stuff like. And not forgetting that if that's a reflection, like if I put a mirror in my hallway, suddenly my hallway is twice as long. So, if there's a mirror there, then, it's only half that distance in the sense of like, what it appears like in the mirror. But, in terms of like understanding the distance and size of things, because, we know that that's wrong. But with this kind of like, alternate kind of perspective towards it, it gives you a different idea. And so, like, looking at the chakras, you get the sun, which is the earth, so we can move that out of picture. If we look up in the night sky, we don't see earth. I mean, that's where we are anyway, kind of thing, in terms of earth being the sun and all these kind of things and stuff like. It's kind of connected, so it's like, you're not going to see it in the sky, like even like on a globus perspective and stuff like. It's like, well, it's obviously not going to see earth in the sky, but but it's a missing thing on their model in terms of like, there's no proof of that. They haven't got an external picture showing you the solar system, including the Earth, So, this has got the moon with it as well. So you've got 1, 2, ignore that one, ant moon, 1, 2, 3, and then another 4. So you got your 7. You got your 7 chakras for all your planets. Your Earth, Moon, Sun are your 3 dantians, your energy reservoirs for the chakras. So the major bodies are kind of accounted for in that sense. Pluto can stay demoted. So you got your asteroid or comet pathways and stuff, which will bring more relevance to that shortly. Next episode, sorry. Another thing to add on this, like our realms of consciousness, or states of consciousness. I did consider that looked like the moon. I also considered that looked like Mars, right? Look at the special effects, like that kind of graphics. It's crap in it, you know what I mean? But they used that quite often for Mars. So I kind of, with a little kind of consideration for, is there some sort of relevance? Is it a state of consciousness which can be entered, I'm not expecting it to be a ball of rock or such. It's like, the evidence of what we see in the sky, I don't really see that as like concrete, like for all I can see at the moment, it could all be light in that kind of sense, like balls of consciousness. So other potential states of consciousness, or chakras which affect us, in that kind of sense and stuff. Also, the colour of Venus. If we go back, you see that one. It's the same colour as that. I said moon, didn't I? But it's got that goldenness to it in a sense. And it's supposed to be Earth's crust, isn't it? Or upper mantle. So we have a solar plexus chakra. Yellow. So, in that representation of the sun, the spirit. So it's one down from the heart chakra. And so, earth and heart, how that association goes in there as well. You show the Vesica Pisces for them too, especially. In the heart, I think that's solar plexus. You got the sun in that kind of sense. We're in as our own realm of consciousness. So it's a heart chakra symbol. But it's interesting how they've got the mandala and then they've got this spherical shape surrounded by another spherical shape. It's like, it's not perfectly spherical, it's kind of like way off. But this is what a lot of the stars look like. So, like, in comparison, we'll get on with the next episode. There's more to go yet. But again, in the consciousness. You see, like with the green, if we like the yellow for the solar plexus, that's like spirit in the sense of like its purest state. But if you put green into it, that's more like when that yellow from the sun is mixed with the blue of the water, and what comes from that, the abundance of nature. So why the heart is green in that kind of way, why it's the heart, because like that organ, how it how it feeds everything else, it's like the mother tree, and now we have that within ourselves as well. So it's green if my phone's showing it. But also, was it on the next picture? No, it didn't. That one's got like colours of the Aurora Borealis. And so for it to be like on the outside of this, so I'll go back again. We've discussed it being the sun. We've been looking at it in that black hole kind of sense. It's not really a black hole, it's a realm of consciousness, but it's carrying the same characteristics, visual characteristics. The narrative of black holes, I think, is falling apart. So this one, it won't twist, which is a shame. But like the peacock feather, you can see this centre part which splits into it. It goes all the way across, but in terms of that, you know, like that, in that kind of sense, you know, there might be some relevance towards it. I mean, we already discussed it about the sun setting on the ocean, so you got some refraction, a mirroring effect, which is like, you know, taking it away and stuff like. But it could be relevant towards what we're seeing as well, like with the sun, because it's gone black, you know, and so all the glow's coming around the side, so it's showing you that. And also the next dome, it has this pear shape, water drop shape, and I've run out of time. I'll come back to this. Nice one. Right, thank you. I'll catch you all in a bit. Cheers.